Masters with Dulcim, and I just wanted to do a quick video on what the climb was like and what I learned from the experience. This is my first time hitting Master with any character, and yeah, I just wanted to go over it real quick just for posterity's sake. Okay, so my initial reflection on this is that I am an incomplete character, but it was good enough to get to Masters. And I saw some posts about how Master isn't that important or that good relative to the Street Fighter 5 ladder, but you know what? I'll take it, and it's good enough for me for now. Maybe later I'll try and climb and hit Legend, but for now, we'll call this good. So, with that in mind, let's just go over some quick stats. It took me I believe it was 4,400 games. Let me see if I can find the number. Yeah, 4,400 games. I had a 49% win rate, 50% with Dhalsim on the whole climb. So nothing special, nothing fancy. I didn't blast through it or anything like that, but I did learn a lot. Um, just for a little bit of reference, this is about 2.5 years after starting to play fighting games. Uh, grown a lot as a player, and a lot of that is due to the community that we're a part of. And yeah, some notes on the nature of the climb. Um, Farm Zangief was a big part of it. Let me get to matches. So I'm just going over phase three. This is the phase that started back in February, I believe. And so this is when I decided to come back into Street Fighter and try and push to master. A big factor in my success was farming Zangief out set to all. So the 170 battles for Zangief is not representative of the ladder. If we actually just look at ranked, he was the third most popular matchup, so that's a big reason that I was able to make this climb. And what else did we see? We saw a lot of Ed, we saw Ryu, we saw Zangief, we saw Ken, Guile, Cammy, and Jamie. Jamie was a real thorn in my side. Cammy was obviously a thorn in my side. But for the most part, I did pretty well against most characters. Cammy obviously butchered me. I was doing well against Cammy early on, but yeah, after that, after Cammy started to get better and more proactive, I stopped really standing a chance. Jamie and Chun Li were both somewhat difficult matchups. I ended up coming up with some strategies for them, but still not super strong win rate versus them. Kimberly eviscerates me. Not sure she beats Dulcim in general, but for me, I couldn't cover enough of her options, and she would have overwhelmed me, and I would die. Luke. Luke was actually surprisingly easy. His approaches were pretty linear, so I was able to keep him out a lot. Aki is kind of like Kimberly Light. She has a lot of options to get around my tools, and while I could beat her, it definitely felt like I was playing from behind a lot of the time. Rashid was like one Rashid in particular, and I just fought him a lot, and I tended to beat him, so that was easy enough. Jury, a little harder because she can get in pretty quickly. Honda, brutal matchup for me until I watched a video on how to beat Honda with Dawson. It was just really hard for me to deal with his headbutt spam and his jump ins and his butt slams and all his options, and then it just felt like all of my choices were wrong. But then I found out, oh, you just got to keep a fireball on the screen at all times, and it tends to slow him down a bit. Manon, another grappler, pretty easy to win. A little harder than Zangief, but still doable. Marissa, kind of like a grappler, but with some more punch power. Lots of armor moves can make this matchup a little bit tricky, but still pretty easy to win, especially if you're keeping fireballs on the screen. Blanca, no shot. Blanca murders me. He has options like Kimberly, but he also has a DP, so I can't really rush him down as easily. He just he has a lot going for him. Mirror match, lost a lot. Not the most well-rounded Dawson, as we'll see when we get into my actual choice of moves. So other Dawsons tended to beat me, but if I played fast enough and aggressively enough, I could win. It just, yeah, unlikely to win. Lily felt like Honda to me. Her tools just felt like they beat my tools unless I was being very specific in what I chose to do. And if I wasn't really ready for the matchup, I would probably lose. DJ 45%, not really a big sample size there. I never really felt scared to fight a DJ, but apparently I should. And JP, I just have the counter zoning tools to crush JPs, and also it's weird for him to probably fight Dalsum in general, just because my tools can somehow beat his tools, which tend to beat everybody else. I can float around his projectiles, I can slide at him, I can do all sorts of fun things to take them apart. And yeah, uh, the climb in general was very streaky. There were multiple periods where I had 5+ win streaks, and this kind of told me that I I know my playstyle is incomplete, but I was still able to. If I was on point, it was sufficient. If I'm not on point and I don't bring everything that I do have to the table, I'm probably going to lose because the gaps I have are exploitable. And even if I am on point and they figure out what my gaps are, I will still get exploited and die. We'll go over what some of my gaps are in a minute. So here we have our usage stats for drive gauge. It's all overdrive and drive. It's all EX special moves, drive rush cancels, and basically damage. I'm just turning my bar into damage all the time to try and get me either a better setup or open my opponent up if I need to, if I feel like I have to, but I don't use it defensively at all. I have a 0% drive reversal usage, which is not a good thing. In fact, it's one of those big gaps that I was talking about. Is since I never parry and never drive reversal, I never get any perfect parries. I have a real defensive weakness. So if I lose the neutral game and I get jumped in on and I start getting run over, I'm probably going to lose because I never drive reversal. Drive parry successful uses in the last 100 matches. Maybe 1 out of every 10 games, I'll use a drive parry. That's how little I use them. I do get some throws 1 out of every 5 games or so. I will throw somebody else's parries, which means I do somewhat mix up my pressure. Um, my drive parries were never thrown because I never parried, and I had 0 perfect parries. So you don't need to use every part of the system, and if you are using this part of the system, that's good. I'm trying to say that I only check certain boxes. I don't check everything, and if you check more boxes than me, I'm sure your climb will go better than mine did. Drive impacts was pretty okay around playing around drive impact. Drive impacts were a big part of what could beat me. I found so I really started to change up my strategy to punish drive impacts as much as possible and try and figure out when the drive impacts were coming. So I didn't really perform a lot of drive impacts, and I did receive a lot, but when I did perform them, they tended to land as punish counters. And if I was, and even though I received about zero point 0.7 drive impacts, only about 50% of the time would they actually hit me as a punish counter. So tells me that I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing when it comes to playing around Drive Impact. But a lot of Dalsum's tools are just super vulnerable to it, and it took a while, but I did figure out kind of how to deal with it. Not perfect, but still I was aware, and I was trying to play around that particular lose condition. Opponent drive impacts counter with my own, point 2, still pretty good. So you basically had a 50-50 shot of either killing me with a drive impact or getting blown up for it yourself. And my drive impacts were never countered by my opponent. I did like, I don't know, 5 maybe or something like that, because I was just always ready to. I basically only use drive impacts to get stunned for the most part, or assault people while they were in burnout. I didn't really use it in neutral unless I saw a move that I knew I could drive impact, like Geef's stand heavy punch, and I was like, okay, I'll drive impact here. Drive reversals, never used them. I know how to use them, but I don't, just because I never really, I never built the muscle memory, and it's something that I will work on now that I'm looking at this. But you don't need them to get to masters. That should be encouraging if you also are a no drive reversal Andy. Super gauge used mostly level 1s and level 3s, probably level 3s. The way the matches would play out, it'd go 1 and 1 in round 1, and I just level 3 them in round 3, and that'd be good enough for me. What else we got? What else we got? Throws. We usually threw them at least once a game. Got hit by a lot of throws, and I teched a decent amount of throws. Another big gap I know I have in my playstyle is my offensive pressure is purely strike throw. There is no shimmy in my game. I've started to work on the Dalsum shimmy pattern of floating to bait the throw and then punish them with a float heavy kick, but I did that for one game. It didn't work, and I was like, okay, I'll just stick with what's been working, even though I know it's incomplete. So my throw game's a little whack. Stuns, I was getting some stuns. I know how to force a stun, but it wasn't something that I super played for. And I was cornered more than I was spent cornering. That's also because a lot of the time, if I have a life lead, I'll happily back up and try and exploit my opponent's mental weakness. Some other useless stats. Yeah, not much else to talk about as far as Dalsum goes. I'm gonna go through a few of the last big games that I played, and yeah, we will talk about what the actual final matches in my Grandmaster looked like. And here we are with the first replay. This is just a matchup against Diamond Ken, and we are just gonna see what it looks like when you're near the end of your Climb the Master. So he's trying to rush me down. I'm trying to keep him from rushing me down and fight him off me. He's got me in the corner. He's throwing me, but he's burnt out, and he makes a huge mistake. And now I have him cornered, so now I'm just gonna start hammering on him until I decide to try and go for the stun. There we go. Jump. Fortunately, even soon-to-be master players can drop combos, and that was just a case of me dropping a combo badly. So now I'm just trying to endure until my burnout ends. Next guess I die, so I'm not gonna guess at all. I'm gonna kill him. The end. If I hadn't dropped that combo, he would have been dead, but oh well. So now, the little walk backs and forths that he does make me think that he's scared, so I start to be a little bit more greedy with my zoning, but he was actually just baiting that and went right in as soon as I started to get comfortable. So I'm pushing him off me. I take a bad teleport, but all it cost me was getting put back in the corner. Another bad teleport. But now I'm starting to get my feet under me. Push him back. Make the ground unpleasant for him. And the minute he's burnt out and I throw a fireball, I know he's going to jump, so I just shoot him out of the air. Make the ground unpleasant for them and be ready to anti-air. That's the name of the game plan, at least for me. I don't want to play again. So let's see how it actually works against a slightly higher master rated Ken player. So make the ground unpleasant for them to deal with and anti-air them when they jump and have some setups for offense. Let's see how this goes. He's running at me. I'm delay teching. I delay tech every time you make me block. It's not ideal. It's a little brain dead, honestly, but it works. It's not perfect, and if you ever figured it out, you'd be able to kill me. But right now I'm just making the ground complicated for him. Trying to make him make decisions that are in my favor. He's burnt out again. Trying to get space, work him to the corner. And there's my stun, and he died. Whether it's Master, whether it's Diamond, the strategies that you come up with that work in Diamond can work against Master players. Bad teleport. When I get attacked, I tend to teleport badly. So if they remain passive, then I have a chance. Then they have a chance to get that anti-air. Let's see. He anti-airs me. I screw up my combo. I really shouldn't have let myself be burnt out, but I did, and now I'm just sticking with my tried and true. Make the ground complicated and try and stop his alternate approaches. So, throwing garbage, trying to get him back to the corner. And he can't get through my ground game. Nothing super complicated, just throwing out a lot of limbs, a lot of fireballs, and looking for the jump. And this is obviously Dawson specific play, but so long as your character isn't extremely one-dimensional, you can probably find a way to apply this if your character has any sort of fireball or long-range attack. Like, even if you're Cammy, you can still do standing medium kick or other long-reaching buttons and make the ground annoying for them and then punish the jump-ins. It doesn't have to be a fireball character. However, with Dawson, it's pretty defined that this is how to play. So, I obfuscate the ground, and once they start to get defensive, I also like to go in for a quick little grab. I have two setups. I have drive rush slide, and I also have set up for if I land a yoga blast. These aren't my setups, these are commonly known Dawson ones, but I only do two things on two knockdowns. I drive rush slide if it's a grab, and I teleport behind you if it's a heavy yoga blast. I don't know every knockdown. I don't have perfect meaties for everything. I'm just using two good things to try and get an advantage and close out these games. You do not have to be a complete player to get Master. So Marissa is throwing the hell out of me. She's wailing on me. I'm gonna lose this round for sure. I might be able to fight out a little bit, but I am in a really bad spot. Okay, I escaped. Now we have a chance. Drive gauge is pretty even. Marissa is still trying to parry things to get in. So let's see what happens in this last round. Hopefully I don't get ran over. Oh, look, anti-air. One thing that was very helpful was intentionally doing nothing at the start of a round and looking for their first action. Because usually they will try and blitz you. They meaning any opponent. And if you are just looking for whatever they're doing, you can probably react to what they do. So now she's just wailing on my drive gauge. If I parried it all, I'd be in a much better spot. I don't want that. But yeah, she's just burnt me out. I have no choice but to fight. And I get a little lucky. Easy enough. Don't underestimate the power of getting lucky. So yeah, obfuscate the ground game. Try and fight your way out if you get pressured, and look for weaknesses in their playstyle. Having one good, strong, proactive thing that you can do that forces your opponent to adjust, and knowing their adjustments will make winning games easier and take less mental effort. First Guile, a big thing is going to be playing around his booms and seeing how he likes the boom. Drop my combo there. This is a Master Guile. This is the game that actually got me into Masters. So I'm trying to play around his booms. If I know what range I have to be at in order to punish his booms with the crouching heavy punch, the long range limb that goes under fireballs. I tried to teleport there, it didn't quite work. The nice thing is, if he's throwing a lot of booms, I can also slide under them like you saw there, but first round did not go quite the way I wanted. It was close. I have a chance, but yeah. Here we are. Checking his approach. He showed a lot of approach last game. He wasn't really trying to throw booms. Little mistake, but I don't get the proper punish. So now we're doing the fireball game, and I'm trying to keep from getting too comfortable, because if we're at full screen he has an advantage, but if we're at like 3/4 screen I have the advantage, so it's really important to know your ranges. I don't know why it keeps fast forwarding like that. So now he's going to point blank range where he has an advantage, mostly because of his hop knee. It's hard for me to contest that. So trying to get back to my 3/4 range, and he jumps in on me and I get the kill. Last round. Round start, EX moves from both of us. I have him in my good range. This is bad range, so I need to get a little closer. I'm constantly trying to get to that 3/4 range so I can punish his boom if I want to. Unfortunately, he had a really good sequence of booms there that I just couldn't quite deal with. Teleport in on him, he gets a punish counter. The inks are not looking great, but he makes a huge mistake. I get my level 3 off. It's one thing that really helped me get more consistent was just always using your level 3 if you have it. You can make decisions around how you want to use your bar, but a lot of times I wasn't making any decisions, and there I was at that 3/4 range. Crouch heavy punch for the win. I knew that was how I could beat Guile, but yeah, that's all it took. It was just maintaining my range, trying to obfuscate the ground game, trying to intercept his strikes, intercept his approaches, and punish any mistakes that he made, in which case was throwing booms at the range of my crouching heavy punch. And yeah, that's how a lot of games went in my climb. Some games were better, some games were worse. It was very streaky, like I said, and it wasn't perfect. It was just me doing my best, me knowing what I could do, and playing to those win conditions. So hopefully that was somewhat useful, and hopefully I can look back on this in a couple of years and laugh at how bad I was. But still, glad I reached Masters, and thanks for checking out the video. Talk to you guys later.